Welcome to the Voncast show and One Truth Tattoo. I have here with me Buck Stallion, man. How's it going?
What's up, dude?
Chilling,
Good to
chilling.
see
You too, man. I haven't seen you since that one time I saw you last.
Yeah, but I don't count. I actually go by every interaction, so I count the podcast we did as an interaction.
Cool, man. So,
and then I actually counted it again because then I edited it and reposted it. So
cool, thank you, man.
Yeah.
So, okay, for those of you who don't know, like people don't know, who are you and what you do? What do you do?
I'm Buck Stallion. I'm one of the last surviving lounge singers.
Okay.
Nobody knows what a lounge singer is anymore, so a lot of the times I get pigeonholed as a comedian.
What about those cruise ship singers? Same thing?
No, those are cruise ship singers.
Okay.
Yeah, like.
Well, lounges, dude. Shut up.
No, yeah, but it's different. It really is. That's you know what I mean. It's really like the difference between, because like there's like stand-up comedians, there's open micers, there's acts, like and like whenever you go into the cruise line aspect of things, it's a totally different beast. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
It's like I know. Like a good example is the difference between a club DJ and a corporate DJ.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're doing corporate parties and stuff like that it's a little bit different.
Right.
Setup. Same with these cruise lines. You know what I mean? Because like not only do you have to stay a hermit so that your entertainment has value to it. You don't want to be seen out roaming the cruise line too often and being a funny person or being entertaining. So I don't know. It's it's a little different. Sorry.
That's all right. So how did you like get into this? Like, what would you do as a kid? Like, what made
Well, I always was kind of a cut up. I always got in a lot of trouble for thinking of something funny to say when the teacher was trying to talk serious shit. I think.
Okay.
It's been forever.
Right.
I think my first stunt was just running in place on the couch as a kid. Like I couldn't even walk, but I could stand and like run my legs, on the couch. And my mom spanked my butt and told me to stop. And I made like a face, like a ooh, face, ooh, mommy, ooh. Okay. And my great aunt Agnes thought that was so funny, and she laughed, and then that made me laugh and do it again.
Gotcha.
And my mom spanked me, and I did the ooh face, and then my aunt Agnes laughed again, and it just and I don't remember that, but that's like one of those moments that people are like, I knew it whenever he did this kind of thing.
Cool. So you're doing that like when you were younger, and then you grew up, kind of thing?
No, I didn't grow up, but I got older. Okay. And I kept doing the same thing. So, and then this guy Matt Powell, he's I don't know what he is. He's a guru of some sort to some people. So he was a cult leader in high school, but
was he?
But he basically, we were out of high school. He was like, hey, you got to come check out that old punk rock bar that we used to hang out at. They've totally turned it into like this lounge. And I went down there, and that was pretty much the beginning of my professional career.
Cool.
Because I started hosting this karaoke show.
Nice.
And I had a gong, and when you sucked, we hit the gong, and we'd stop the song and kick you off the stage. And
nice.
But dude, we're in a different world now.
Right.
Like I tried to bring it back. It's been, I did it for 3 years whenever I first started doing it, and then I tried to bring it back 2 years ago, and I had to get rid of the gong because people are just too easily offended. Like it's bad enough I talk shit to them,
right?
But then to hit the gong, like the bartender would come out from behind with a huge Q-tip, you know what I mean, and bong, hit the gong, and it was all, and sometimes the people would be drunk and they'd be into that moment, so they don't even see that, they don't hear the crowd, Arsenio hauling the word gong, 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 and it was all this buildup. Yeah. And then people would get mad, and sometimes it would get violent, but there was usually enough people that we could like just push that violent person out of the room and just move on with the night. But like nowadays, it's like, dude, you just have so much bullshit. You got Yelp, you've got Google, whatever, like what I mean. Like you have all these ways to judge people from afar. It's kind of like now everybody can be that kid that gets away from the bully and still flips him off a block away.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I don't know. It's kind of chaotic. I was gonna do like a national tour. I bought an RV and everything, and was gonna just take off out of California and go hit a couple of cities per state and enjoy, you know, the nation. And then Trump won, and the whole demographic changed. Like, everybody turned into like these violent Antifa people, or they turned into racist, or they turned into hate mongers, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at first it started with people pissing me off on Facebook, like, just because I don't vote. I'm nonpartisan, and I'm a non-voter, so I really don't care what everybody's mad about. You know what I mean? But I started deleting people that were just repeating themselves. You know, it's kind of like a crazy conspiracy theorist person. But I feel like a lot of my liberal friends went down that rabbit hole. You know what I mean? And then, of course, all my Republican friends are like, yeah, eat a dick, we won. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of like I've had this happen at a show where I brought in two aspects of my life. I invited them to a show, and I had people that I grew up with at this show, and I had people that I was now friends with in my adult life, and they fought. Like, literally. Wow. Over some girls. Wow. You know, there was like two girls that were like knew some people from both sides. And, and so, yeah, it turned into this crazy Royal Rumble at a pizza parlor, you know, at one of my shows. But that was kind of like, I should have started paying attention to that kind of stuff. I just figured, you know, drinking is bad or whatever.
Wow. So where'd you grow up? Where did you grow up?
I was born in Modesto.
Okay. And
then I grew up in Oakland.
Okay.
For a majority of my youth. And then I moved back to Modesto. I mean, actually, in a way, I never left because I was doing like home studies.
Right. Okay.
From Modesto City Schools, but I was living in Oakland.
Interesting.
For most of the time. And then I'd go to school, you know, and basically, like, I was going to regular school, so, but it was kind of like I was like the weird kid that was always out of town.
Right.
You know, and to me, it was just my life, so I didn't have any control over that. But I didn't start noticing that. There's actually a culture of that never being at school in junior high, and that's whenever I started getting jealous of the Hispanics, you know, that all go down to Mexico to visit their family all school year. I'm like, oh, that's fucking convenient.
Oh, cool.
I got to go to school.
Yeah.
And everybody else is like, oh no, holiday, we're leaving for the whole school year. We'll be back just before we graduate.
So you're doing lounge singing, like out in Fresno, Oakland, Modesto?
Right now, I'm kind of just anywhere that calls me.
Because you host events. I saw your Facebook page. You host a lot of events at your hometown, I think?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, being from Modesto, like, there isn't much of a scene anymore. I mean, me and some of my other friends that are my age were laughing because we're like, there probably is a scene, but we're too old to be a part of it. But my daughter's 19, and she's immersed in what there is, and there isn't anything. It's like there's like a coffee shop open mic, and but we've had like our major clubs have been turned in. One's been turned into a church, one's been turned into a wedding hall, and they were competing major clubs that I worked regularly in town. But it was like I moved to Texas for like a year, and whenever I came back, it was like a bomb had gone off in Modesto and just annihilated all the venues. And then you got all these people that are like hobby venue owners. They're like, I always wanted to have a bar, and then they don't know who to hire, or they don't know how to do stuff.
So you also have a podcast called the Buck Stallion Show?
It's the Buck Stallion's Wake and Bake.
Buck Stallion's Wake and Bake.
Yeah, it used to be the Wake and Bake podcast with Jay Smith Biatch, but Jay Smith died.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah, he overdosed in Texas, and ironically, right whenever I moved back.
So a podcast.
But it's on Spreaker, or it's on YouTube.
Nice.
And if you just Google Buck Stallion podcast, you'll find it.
What's that one about? So like is it a marijuana based thing?
No, not really. It never really was.
Oh, okay.
Like I guess actually in its rebirth, because I took like a 5-year or 4-year hiatus from it.
Yeah.
And in its rebirth, I was sponsored by a weed delivery company, and they were like, "Dude, you should bring it back." And I was like, "Okay." And so I basically we did like one episode dedicated to them, you know, for a while, and for a while it was going well, but then, you know, people would show up at like near the end of it and be like, "Hey, are we doing the podcast?" And it started getting cumbersome and irritating. You know, like you just want to do it. Like when I was doing the Wake and Bake before, I had people coming over and, you know, they'd show up at 7 and we'd start cooking breakfast and start smoking weed, and conversations would start, and, you know, we'd go for a couple hours easily. But now it's like the attention span's changed.
Right.
The audience has changed. You know, my usual fan base, or my old fan base, is all they're all, you know, got their families up their ass now, or their phones up their ass. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just not the same. Like somebody was talking about the other day. You know, growing up, I had all these ideas in my mind of what show business was going to be like, and then I got into show business and I found out, oh, you got to do this, and you got to do this, and you got to perform for this person, or you got to audition with these people, or you got to start accruing footage, or you know what I mean, or whatever, like, you know, for your reel, you got to start accruing creds.
Right.
And the only way you're going to get creds is by going out there and doing stuff. But that isn't the case anymore. Now a person that's never seen another human being sitting in a bar going, "Fuck you," can come out with a comedy album and that they recorded at home with canned laughter.
Right.
Or they can record a rap album and never ever perform it until they've reached that SoundCloud, you know, fame, and then all of a sudden they're on tour and they don't know how to act because they've never been around people. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I feel like that's just kind of the world that we're in now.
I can see that, because I think technology has done that. It's made it available. It's made it so accessible, which is good. But at the same time, it's like you're leaving out a certain aspect of that art or whatever you do.
Yeah, and I feel I don't know. I feel like there was so many other steps that you had to do to get a reputation and to get respect in the industry.
Correct.
And now it's just it just isn't. I mean, I don't know, like you guys probably see it all the time, you know, people come in with a resume and they're like, I'm a good tattoo artist. I've been tattooing in my garage since I was 15.
Scratchers.
You know, like, and you guys look at their pictures and you're like, nah, I'm good. You know, and it's kind of like, I don't know, like those guys can actually just, like, they don't even, like, now, I'm just saying in the music or in the comedy or whatever aspect of it, it isn't as tangible as a tattoo.
Yeah.
So just imagine, like, you have endless dead pigs that you can ink and take pictures of.
Right.
That's what the world is giving these artists now. And I don't know, in a way it sucks because everything's out there. But, like, then you have people like Jimmy Fallon who are, like, glorifying them on, you know, like, horrible music that he's finding online. I don't know. And then it sucks even more whenever I see, like, a band that played at my 16th birthday on Jimmy Fallon getting toasted. Don't listen, you know.
What's your involvement with TITS Crew?
Oh, I don't know. I'm like the only non-regular graffiti artist in the crew.
What does it stand for? Time is too short?
It stands for TITS. It stands for everything.
Okay.
Anything that you can acronym the word TITS into.
So it's a graffiti.
I use it for "This is the show."
Okay.
Or "Tonight is the show."
Okay.
Or "Time is too short." Got that tattooed on by this one guy.
What's his name?
Clown.
I got some tattoos from him too.
Yeah.
Nice
Sorry.
job.
I mean, he's okay. You just gotta catch him on the right day. You know, like if he's eating a salad, then he's having a good day. You can scare him in the bathroom or something.
Muay Thai expert, I believe, too.
Oh, well, I mean, he might have told you that. Yeah.
But so yeah, man. So that's pretty cool, dude. Like, do you lounge singing? You DJ?
Yeah, I'm the best DJ in the world.
Awesome.
I mean, especially compared to what's going on out there now.
Right.
I don't use program.
Vinyl and everything.
No, I don't use vinyl either. I just press play on an MP3.
Oh, that's what you do.
Yeah, because that's all anybody needs to do now.
Right.
I don't know. Like, again, that was one of those things. Like, whenever I first started DJing, I was a pro DJ.
Mm-hmm.
And pro DJs used 2 CD disc, players. And then you had a realistic crossfader.
Mm-hmm.
But you just used that to blend the songs. It wasn't beat matching or, like that. Those were the house DJs. Those guys do that. Like, ooch, 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 and then they blend it in or whatever. Yeah. But I think a DJ really is just a person that knows how to work a crowd and knows how to play the right music to make a crowd move.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't always work. I did a graduation party not long ago, and I got them to dance to the Macarena.
Nice.
That was it. 4 hours of me playing kick-ass songs, even their requests. And I don't normally take requests because I feel like whenever people say, hey, will you play this song? I'm like, yeah, I've been doing this for 25 years. I'm pretty sure I'm going to play that stupid fucking song that you want. And everybody's going to clear off the floor if there's anybody on the floor as it is. Mm-hmm. And then you're not even going to dance to that stupid-ass song.
Right.
And I took like maybe 12 requests that night. Mm-hmm. And it happened every song.
Interesting.
There was even one where like I had like 4 chicks just all, dude, that guy over there, he's gonna like break it off. You should play this song. And it was that, I know, just meet me in the middle. You know the one? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's called The Middle.
Okay.
It's a winner. And then another one where they were like, oh dude, if you played this, and I played Mariah Carey, Old Dirty Bastard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Me and Mariah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right?
Superstar thing?
Yeah, Superstar. Sorry,
I
spit on that, everything.
It's okay.
But yeah, Ghetto Superstar. And I played that, and then somebody started shooting off illegal fireworks in the orchard behind the party, and nobody cared about that song either, because they were too busy like, oh, wow, look at that, cool fireworks. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's one of those things. I've been doing it, like I said, 25 years. Is actually underscoring myself. I've been doing it almost 30 years.
Wow.
And because I did like a freshman, as a freshman, I was actually as an 8th grader, I was doing parties. I started doing house parties and graduation parties or whatever. And then my freshman year, this chick Shay String, she was like a real life Barbie of our school. Now, I probably wouldn't have thought she's that hot. Like now, I think that she probably looks like Tammy Wynette or one of those people, because they're all Okies in Central Valley, California. But this gal Shay String, she had her name embossed or embroidered on the back of her Jeep.
Wow.
Tire cover.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, dude, and it was like a pink Jeep. So she was, oh Shay. And so I did her graduation party, which established me as a freshman as a cool party animal. And then,
how were the parties back then?
Dude, so much better.
Really?
You don't have parties like that anymore. Back in the day, you could just put on Sublime. You put on the album, the Sublime album, and 40 Ounce of Freedom, and everybody would be singing it all night and doing keg stands, and there might be a fight, but it's usually like over some stupid chick. You know what I mean? And then that's over. That's all. I mean, I don't know. Where I grew up in high school and shit, there wasn't a lot of violence. Every once in a while, like, people would be playing on the canal or hanging out at the canal late night, and like some vatos would show up and just shoot it up with like a shotgun.
Damn.
You know what I mean? But dude, a sawed-off shotgun, you're not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
You're like, you'd be better off shooting somebody with a high-powered BB gun.
Yeah.
But that is all intimidation. They, the vatos just wanted to like be like, hey, no jocks out here, boom, boom, and so people got little BBs in their leg or whatever. But that's about as harsh as it would get, whereas as a kid in Oakland, you'd see, people get their heads stomped in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Different there.
So, I don't know. But I think that's also today now too, is like nowadays it's a lot more violent world. Everybody knows Muay Thai. Everybody's an MMA fighter. Everybody's on steroids. And And if they're not, then they're like, you know, Joe Rogan calls his homies nerd assassins.
Nerd assassins.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
You know, they're just like scrawny little badasses in jiu-jitsu. They can still grab you by your nostril and just throw you across the street, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's a lot of times where I feel like I could just go rip somebody out of their car and beat the shit out of them on the side of the road, but
it's not worth it.
It's not, because you don't know. You don't know what they got. I mean, I don't know. I always have something. I always got something for somebody if they want to, you know, get froggy.
Right.
But I don't know. I've been lucky.
It's good.
I've only been sucker punched a majority of the fights I've been in, and then a sucker punches they hit and run.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not a tough guy.
Me neither.
I'm glad they run.
Nice, man. So you've been doing how many episodes was like the Wake and Bake Bang? How many episodes have been? A lot?
Well, for like that first year, now it's like intermittent. Now it's kind of like whenever I'm in the mood or I have time for it, because I don't have the sponsors anymore. So there's no real yeah, there's no incentive, but there's also it's like like right now all the shows have been by myself, just kind of like deep thoughts, you know, or
what do you
me.
talk about with deep thoughts? What kind of things do you talk about?
Just what pisses me off in the world. Like one day I just was going off about BMW drivers because they're motherfuckers.
You know what's interesting? When I was in driving school, and they were saying the car that you want to be most careful of are I think black BMWs or white BMWs, and they were saying that like they're the most entitled. This is the instructor telling me like the most entitled drivers. Like they will fucking they will not signal. Don't give a fuck. So it's interesting you say that.
No, it's true. I mean that's what I do now as a day job is I drive. So like whenever my first route was up in Walnut Creek, and so I was seeing like Ferraris and nice Lambos and badass paint jobs and all kinds of stuff like every day for like a year, and now I'm down here, and you know it's kind of like the same thing in certain areas, you know, but it's always the same. There was one day I had to get a tow in Walnut Creek because my work truck broke down, and the tow truck driver was telling me, there's 3 black BMWs that I'm gonna have to go get after I take care of you. I gotta go do these 3 other calls that I've, you know, agreed to. And I was like, 3 black BMWs, what were they? They fell off a truck or something? And he's like, nope, potholes. He's like, they all drive like they're badasses, and they hit these potholes, and they don't come with a spare tire. And so they jack their tire, they pop their tire on a pothole, you know, or bottom it out or whatever, and they have to pull over, and there's no way they can change their own tire. They have to get towed to a dealership, and it's so ridiculous. Like, what a pain in the ass. Whenever I sold cars, I remember Lexus got its own dealership down the street from us, and everybody was like, dude, do you know how OG you have to be to sell Lexus? Because at that particular store, they had 9 in the showroom, and every one that you sold had to be custom ordered.
Interesting.
But it's bullshit, because they're coming off a factory line. They're not custom ordered. You know what I mean? They're made at Toyota. So it's, I don't know, it's you know, it's one of those tricks. It's like, you know,
it's like the earth is flat.
Like the earth is flat kind of trick. Yeah.
Really interesting. I don't know, to each his own in their belief, but it's just very interesting that you can defy science and mathematics. But hey,
dude, I was just watching Eddie Bravo.
Does he believe it?
Dude, he says he's just having fun with it whenever he talks crazy about it.
Yeah.
But dude, it's like blinders. Like, you know, people like that kind of trip me out. There was a rapper.
B.O.B.?
Is that what he?
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know.
I've been in the room with B.O.B. and I didn't know it.
Really?
So.
Very, like, I think he's very modest, low, lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
He knew I was there.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
But yeah, it's like conspiracy theories are very interesting. I mean, now the internet and everything, it's like so easy to like find like like-minded people with you. And I think when people identify with other people with these theories, they feel like, oh, I belong in a group. Kind of thing.
Well, dude, so there's this one guy, I'm not gonna say his name or anything, but he actually got mad at me because I did a video about Flat Earth guy, the guy that everybody thinks is like this genius, and I didn't even watch the whole video. I just put it in the middle of the video and paused it behind me, and was just like, look at this guy, and just, you know, I mean, I ended up being right, which was kind of funny, you know, whenever I played the clip. But it's like, because this guy, he believes in like a liquid filament, like we're underwater or something, and so yeah, and so I'm just roasting this guy for like 10 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever the video is, and dude, I got like 2,000 unlikes, like 2,000 down arrows, you know, on it, which is fine. I don't give a shit. I got other videos that are 56,000 plus, you know. So I mean, I'm not a viral guy. Anyways, it's never been my thing. I'm more of like just keep adding to the thing. Like I have like over 300 videos on YouTube right now, and it's just like, you know, some of them are 15 seconds long, a peep into my life. And sometimes they're like some production video. You just never know.
Weren't you in a music video recently?
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah, I was in Billy String's "Dealing Despair" music video.
How'd you get that?
Because I was in this other show that my friend Braun was producing with it's this guy that he was gonna be Anakin. Okay. They were gonna hire him as a young Anakin, or they were gonna hire him as like a teenage Anakin, and his brother was gonna be the young Anakin, and his brother was the I'm a big kid now Huggies kid from the 80s. Wow. Yeah, so they were already like into the system, you know, like they've all got their SAG card. Right. But they did this movie. It's called Heat of the Beat, and I just happened to be coming into town to do a show that night, and so I said, hey, I'm gonna be in town. I got my RV. You know, if you're doing anything, I want in. And he's like, yeah, come down to this warehouse, and we're shooting this movie, and you can die in the finale of the movie. And I was like, okay. Well, dude, we get down there, and it's the Luce Underground warehouse. It's where they filmed the whole series of Luce Underground. And I
painted the set for that.
Shut up! This is my podcast! Oh, God. You know what? Have your own podcast, bro.
There's stuff in there.
So I went to the warehouse. Give a fuck who else has been there, okay? Because I don't remember my name being on the wall.
I wrote your name on the wall.
Did you? And then you painted over it because that was the look.
I can find the pictures.
You better show me the goddamn thing. You better. I want prints. So, but I was just like super stoked. And then there was like this big, huge chunk of foam where they like, whenever the guys are getting shot at, like they would make it explode, but they were like, don't touch that. That's not our foam. But it was pretty rad. It was like fake concrete. And so I died, but I ended up dying twice. And then my girl Liberty, she was with me, and she got like more in the movie than I did, because she was the bag man. She handed off the duffel bag of money or whatever, explosives or whatever, and so, but I ended up getting killed. And then they walk by my dead body, and I jump up because they filmed it in one continuous shot. And I jumped up and I ran down the stairs, and I put on different sunglasses, and I put my hat on backwards, and I pop out another corner, and they shoot me there too. Interesting. So, yeah, like the first time I died was like everybody laughed at the screening because I did like this like like thing, you know, and nobody else acted like that. Everybody else was like and they just like fell. But I made it so that they had to double tap me, you know, so they had to give me like the double gun effect. Yeah. You know? But yeah. So I did that, and then basically Braun was like, hey, dude, the guys that did bum fights are shooting this music video. And I was like, I love bum fights. And so we went, and Yeah, and so I beat the shit out of him.
Wait, you were in a bum fight?
No, well, you know,
the style.
The video,
right.
I'm dressed as like a liberal, and he's dressed as a Republican, and we're just arguing, and like, I look like I'm a luchador. It's pretty dope. I've never looked so cool.
It's really interesting how this election has like really pitted people against each other. I haven't seen that. I mean, not in my lifetime at least.
Dude, I've never seen it either. Like, I've always said that. Like, you know, actually, that's what makes people think that I'm a Trump guy. And I had to look up online what I am, because I'm like, I don't vote. Like, that's all I would tell people. They'd go, oh, you're Trumper. And I go, I don't even vote. But I looked it up, and I'm nonpartisan. It means I don't pick a side. It means that I'm just like, whatever. I think we deserve Trump as a culture. I think that this America that we're in right now is so entitled that, like, I mean, it's not your fault, but like your generation, like everybody got participation trophies. Like, I think there was 1 year in the 10 years I played soccer that they did participation trophies, and it was because we were 5 years old. But now here we are, and I'm 42 years old, and I'm just like, dude, like, everybody's a 5-year-old, that they need that.
Can you go more into depth of that sense of entitlement and participation trophies? Because I've heard, like, I've read articles about it, but it's kind of like.
Well, dude, I think it started with don't spank your kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, somewhere along the line, the children started getting more empowered. And now we're to this point, like, dude, I just saw this Boy Scout on his bike 2 blocks from here. And it made me triple look at him, because I was a scout. I made it to first class scout, and then my parents pulled me out because it was a boys club. It was a crazy, chaotic, anarchist boys club at that level. But like, I grew up in Boy Scouts, and now they're just called the Scouts of America because some girl thought that she wanted to be in there. And it's like, you're taking away the fundamental basis of this whole group. This group is for men. For men to learn how to be manly and to learn, you know, hunter-gatherer shit, and like learn how to survive, and you know what I'm saying? And now, this girl, she's tough enough. Well, how come, I don't know, like, I just think it's fucked up.
Aren't there still Girl Scouts?
Yeah.
But do they learn those things?
No, Girl Scouts, no, they learn how to market and sell. They're basically, I mean, they have like their badges and stuff like that, but from what I understand, it's way pussified. Right. With good reason. Yeah. I mean, it's what they have. They got the vaginas to do pussified activities. But and I sound like a chauvinist, I know, in a lot of my aspects, but I'm not a conservative by any means. I mean, I want my daughter to be a badass bitch, you know. Liberty's a badass bitch. Like, you can still be effeminate and be a bad bitch. You don't have to fucking do man stuff to like prove how tough you are. And I don't know, dude. I feel like, you know, we're kind of in that we're in that weird realm where everything's just getting it's getting all fucky because people are letting it. You know, like somebody's throwing a fit, and instead of like saying, dude, no, I'm sick of your fits, shut the fuck up, we're like, you're right, but let's do this for you. Let's make this better for you. And dude, we're losing a lot of our morals along the way. Yeah. I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan, like to the point where the guys that my daughter hangs out with, I had one of them even go, I bet you listen to a lot of Joe Rogan, huh? I'm like, yeah, because I'm in my truck with no shirt on, you know? But like, no, they were talking about, it was, what's his name? Who's that one whiny conservative guy? Ben Shapiro. Oh, God. Ben Shapiro. Oh.
Hello. Is there an age limit? Can he just like look at the picture?
Sure, go ahead, knock yourself out. Yeah. Would you like to look at books or pictures?
Oh no, the art.
Feel free, please. But interesting, yeah.
So I mean, but that's what Ben Shapiro was talking about, was about how, you know, you have like basically in some states there's like actually people that will call the police on you if your child, you know, your young child is identifying in a gender modified way, and if you're not accommodating that child, then they'll take your child from you. Because you're basically abusing that child by not letting it have its gender fluidity. And I'm just like, dude, the kid's 5, the kid's 6, the kid's 7. Like I didn't understand boys and girls until I was like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And even then, I still just wanted to pull their hair.
Yeah.
You know.
I think with the internet now, it's like you get more access and everything.
Yeah.
But very interesting stuff, man. Where can we find you on social media or like your podcast?
Like I was saying, I mean, you Google Buck Stallion, you're gonna get me and you're gonna get horses.
How'd you get the name Buck Stallion?
I just came up with it.
That's cool.
It actually, it's an adult movie guy's name, and I took it from him.
We also have stickers if you want some stickers. I don't know.
Are these all the books? So when you said books, I don't know what I was thinking.
Yes,
I
that's
thought, I'm
the
like, do you
books.
have children's storybooks? Like,
Oh no, I meant like the tattoo books.
I wasn't thinking.
That's okay. These are the books.
Oh, these are them.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool.
Does he want to get tattooed?
No, he actually doesn't. He's
Oh.
like, I don't want to go in. I'm like,
Okay.
what? Like,
Okay.
stop it. I'm like, I think when you're maybe 18.
Yeah. But cool, man. Let's see. Any other shout outs?
Look at all that study.
On Instagram, original Buck Stallion.
So,
On Twitter, that's Esterosis, but it's too hard to find, so it's almost better to just Google Buck Stallion.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you for the show, man.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem.